Hey y'all. How y'all doing? I hope you're having a good day. I've had a day and a half. My vehicle overheated and it took me forever to get back home. But I don't know. I think I've shared with you that if anything will go wrong, it will go wrong to me. So that's how my day's been. But I wanted to go over just a few key points to me in the Pandrew and Allie interview last night. I don't know if y'all heard that. Such conflicting stories by everyone. It just makes my head spin, and I just don't know what to think about anything anymore except that everybody lies. And that's a shame. It's a real shame because there's a little missing girl that we all care about, and we want to know where she is. And it is so frustrating to hear all of these people just spinning their side of the story to make themselves look good. And at this point, it doesn't matter who looks good, who looks bad. I mean, if you've got information, geez, please somebody tell it, because this is getting so old. This is coming up on a year that Summer's been missing, and it's frustrating. Somebody knows something. More than one person knows something, in my opinion. I don't know what it's going to take. I really don't know what it's going to take. Okay, so let's do this. So when Allie was talking to Pandrew, he was just asking kind of general questions like everybody gets asked. He asked, how long she had stayed at Candus's once Jose got there, which was, according to her, a week and a half. And apparently, Jose and Allie hooked up just a couple days after he got there. And they were asked about the drinking and everything like that. And she said that they drank every day, Jose too. And by Jose's own admission, he was a raging alcoholic at the time. So he likes to make it sound like he was an innocent person in this or whatever you want to say. But in all honesty, I think that he was partying just right alongside of them. That's my opinion. And doesn't mean he did anything. It just means he was there partying with them, in my opinion. And Allie said that the reason they ended their friendship was the stealing of the money, Jose, and she just felt like Candus took advantage of her. And I can see that. I see Dawn and Candus having taken advantage of a lot of people through all of this. So that's not a stretch of my imagination that happened. But I mean, even some of Allie's questions, I think there's truth in it. And I also think she embellishes a little too, you know. But she said that, Jose said there was no drugs. And I know that marijuana is not considered a drug to a lot of people. But Allie said that they were smoking pot every day. That Candus always smokes pot. So, and I believe that. I don't, that's not a stretch of my imagination at all. But she said that because it was brought up that, Candus says she didn't have anything to do with Jose. Jose says he didn't have anything to do with Candus. But according to Allie, they would be all snuggled up in the bunk bed downstairs with his legs wrapped around her, and she would kiss him all over his face all the time. And this was the thing that kind of made me think that it's real. So she said that Jose would buy Candus clothes and make sure that she bathed. Why would he make sure she bathed? That made me think, yeah, they probably did. Because, listen, if Allie was there for a week and a half, right? And Jose was there for a solid month. And when Dawn got back, he was only there for a few days before Jose split, right? So that means there's a couple weeks that it was Candus and Jose. So, in my opinion, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they were messing around. I mean, that was kind of the last straw for Allie, anyways. And what I thought was kind of interesting is that Grandis wanted him too. So they've got like 3 women over there fighting over him. And apparently, when Jose was helping her move the school bus to where it is now, she planted a big old kiss right on his mouth. And I was like, wow, what is going on over there? It's like, wow, wow. But Allie was asked how Grandis was towards the kids. And she said rough around the edges. Well, we kind of can tell that she's kind of rough around the edges anyways. But, to me, I can believe that, and she was asked by one of his subs that if Dawn or Candus was the abuser in the relationship. And she said, well, honestly, Candus was more the abuser than Dawn. Well, my opinion on that is that they're both violent people. I think they're both violent. I think it was both ways, And this is something that is troublesome for me. Allie was asked if there was ever a time that either Dawn or Jose was inappropriate towards True, which is her oldest daughter. And she said yes, that she was at work and she got a text message from True saying that Jose was creeping around. She's like, why, what do you mean? And evidently he had commented on something of hers saying that she was his crush, which is inappropriate for a man to a teenager, no matter how you look at it, girl or boy. It's inappropriate. Just like the comments that Candus has made on Hunter's Facebook, completely inappropriate. So why would she text her mom saying that she was feeling uncomfortable if she wasn't? It's my take on it. But and they were asked about the sleeping arrangements while they were there, right? And Allie did say that the bunk beds were downstairs and the couch was in front of the door, just like Jose said. And that the girls or the females were upstairs and the males were downstairs. So all the boys would have been downstairs with Jose, sounded like, according to Allie. And Grandma was staying at the house too until her and Candus got into this big argument over Jose because she saw, according to Allie, that Grandis saw Jose and her kind of fooling around or something along those lines. But so she moved back into her camper. And, we've all often wondered why Dawn took the oldest boy to Utah with him. I've heard it asked a million times. I've wondered. And according to Allie, he took him because he was drinking and smoking marijuana at home, and he wanted to, I guess, control that. But that doesn't make a lot of sense either, because he does the same thing. So I still wonder why. So that doesn't really answer any questions for me. And she kept reiterating that Summer would not leave the yard. Would not. Hunter said she wouldn't. Candus Dawn says she wouldn't. Allie says absolutely not. I don't know. At this point, I don't even care if she would run off in the past. I just want to know where she is now. What happened to her that day? How did she get gone? There's a bigger picture here. You know, we nitpick every little detail because that's all we've got. So I get it, because I do it too. But we nitpick every little detail, just trying to make sense of this whole thing. And it doesn't make sense. The more we hear, the more confusing it gets. It's just baffling. All that I can say for sure is that, in my opinion, every single person that they associated with are shady. Everyone. And in my opinion, Dawn and Candus did not do justice by their children. They were neglected. They were. We just need to know the truth. It is way past time for the truth. And everybody's like, I didn't do anything wrong. Well, then why is everybody lying? Why lie if you didn't do anything? But you know, she did mention one guy that, and I think I have a picture of him because I've tried to find him. But this Billy guy that stayed in the shed, right? And Allie said he was an old drunk when she told the story to Chris Madonna, and Hunter knew who he was. But she said that what she knows about Billy is that he's a drug dealer. And someone asked if she thought he could be involved, and she said that she thought he was in jail at the time. So if anyone knows his last name, I would love to have it. I want to make sure that this is the right guy that I've been looking at. That's why I haven't talked about it, because I don't want to put out something that's not true, you know? So if anyone knows his last name, just either email me or, you know, leave a comment, and I'll look into him, because it's always made me wonder, like, why would they let somebody stay in the shed on the property? I don't know. It just, I don't know. Like I said, nothing in this case makes sense to me. And she did say that Candus would leave the boys at home all the time, which I don't think any of us have any problem believing, because she left the boys home the day Summer went missing. But there was one thing, probably the biggest thing, that jumped out at me. Was she was asked if she ever saw Candus physically abuse Summer, and she refused to answer that question. So it makes me think she has seen some of that abuse with Summer. And I know she's called CPS and everything, but how can you, if I saw somebody abusing a child, I would do something about it. I wouldn't want to be friends with someone like that that could hurt children, you know? But I haven't talked about what Jose's interview, how it went with Chris Madonna. I felt like there was inconsistencies in his statement as well. But he did confess to being in a mental institution, and I did look up in that area that he mentioned, and it seems like there are two that are right in that area, but we can't get any information on that HIPAA. But I don't have any reason to doubt him. He said he went before a panel of people, so he obviously was having some mental issues, and I feel sure with his background, what happened to him in his home and when he went to jail, that it would have been a serious trigger warning for him in that home. It would have to be. And something that's always kind of bugged me is he said, "Oh, I didn't know about Summer being gone," even though the FBI called him 7 or 8 days after Summer went missing. But it makes no sense to me why he wouldn't mention the shower incident to them. Because if, say, I put myself in his shoes and I'm staying in that home and I see something like that and I get Summer out of that situation, and then Summer comes up missing and I get a phone call from the FBI, that would probably be one of the first things that pop into my head, is like, oh my God, let me tell you this, and I understand he was going through some stuff. I get it. Mental health is a real problem in the United States. Well, all over the place, really. So, I'm not going to fault him for wanting to escape that situation and not look back. But I feel like when the FBI called and he was stable again, in his words, that I would have brought it up and just explain where my head was at the time. And, not just to mention the shower thing. Okay, so Candus knows that Dawn would shower with Summer all the time. Jose knew. Jody Sue knew. Of course, Dawn knew. But if Hunter and Allie had stayed there, and they've stayed there, I believe, even when Dawn was there at times, they would have to know something. The boys would know. That's a lot of people knowing that this is happening in that home for no one to do anything. And that bothers me because I care about Summer. And, I can't stand, and I know y'all can't either, stand the thought of what this baby could have gone through. And then you think about Jose saying, oh, there's no tint on the windows. But when Chris Madonna went there was tint on the windows, on every window down in that basement, cellar, hole, dungeon, as he calls it. Not a very inviting place for children. This case just sucks so bad, y'all. And did y'all hear Jose saying that Summer would go around and drink alcohol that was laying around? And what about Grandis's bag of pills? Her bag of pills, big bag of pills. And I've always heard Grandis drank too, but he's saying no. So I don't know. Then you got Dudley saying Don smoked marijuana with the oldest son on the job. So I wonder, and I hope they did when CPS took the boys, I hope they did drug test them. I mean, we know Dawn and Candus failed their test. That's why they were taken. And they failed the drug test the day Summer went missing for harder drugs than marijuana or alcohol. And Candus is supposed to have a CPS court date coming up. I'm not sure when that is, but I'm wondering if they're going to bring any of this stuff up in court. You know, any allegations against her that may be out there. I feel sure they've been doing a investigation, especially if the police have text messages between her and H. Did y'all catch that Chris Medina, when he was on panel with Josh from the lab, say that Dawn just recently had a couple visitors? And to me, it sounded like he was implying it may have something to do with Jeannie and the other victims. How in the world, in all of the universe, did Dawn from Utah and Candus from Wisconsin meet in Arkansas? And this whole ball started rolling. Golly. And one thing that we've talked about, and I do believe this about the dogs, because Grand Bun was talking about how they would snarl and show their teeth. And Jose said the same thing, that he was scared to get out of that vehicle that day, the truck, Grandis's truck. And he said it took 2 or 3 days for the dogs to get used to him. So I don't believe for 1 minute Don's story that the dogs weren't there. And if he wasn't there, how would he know the dogs weren't there? He wouldn't know that. So if a stranger walked on that property, all those dogs would have been over there barking, unless they knew them. And I've always said that if somebody took Summer off that property, it's somebody they know, sadly. And that would be the parents' fault because of who they allow on their property. Why wasn't anybody protecting these children? Why is Dawn and Candus so into themselves and they can't even tell you about their own kids? You know, the one thing I do believe is that Jose, he said that being around those kids kind of like made, not really felt alive again, but, you know, just realized that that's important, and, you know, was reminiscing or whatever you want to call it about, you know, wanting to take his own life and not being there for his kids. And so, yeah, I think he got to know the kids. And the thing is, he seems to be able to tell more about those kids than Dawn and Candus ever has been able to. And that's heartbreaking. The man was there for a month. Even though he says it felt like 6 months. It probably did feel like 6 months. But he wasn't there 6 months. How is it he can have more information about these kids than their own parents? Maybe because they're messed up all the time. It's sad. But one thing that I do find really weird is, and maybe y'all do or maybe you don't, I don't know, but like Jose goes off grid. Why off grid? I mean, you're out of the situation, but off grid, that's like, I don't know, y'all, what to think about that. Not wanting to be found is what that means. I don't know. Maybe he got some more mental help or something. Maybe he went back into the institution for a little while. Maybe that's off grid because you can't have phones, I don't think. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, and if he didn't want anyone to know he was there, someone could call the facility and say, "Hey, do you have Jose Roman?" And they can't answer that. So maybe that's what he means by off grid. Still curious about that phone he said he threw in the ocean. That's a little strange. And then one sent to, I don't know what's true there. And I wonder now, I don't see how he could, I mean, maybe there's a little something to it about the FBI asking questions about Dawn and Candus and him saying that, they wanted to know if the parents could do anything to him, that it seemed to be kind of focused on Dawn and Candus in the questioning. And that's kind of interesting to me. But we've all kind of questioned Dawn and Candus. But he did say that he didn't think Candus would, but he didn't know if Dawn would. Me personally, I'd like to know when the sofa was gotten rid of in the basement. When was the tent put on the windows? Is there a new door, or did they just add a lock? Those are questions that I'm curious about. Like I said, I think everyone embellishes in this whole case. I don't believe everything he says 100%, or anyone else for that matter. And another thing I was thinking about is Hunter's relationship with Summer. And I'm not saying he did anything, not at all, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's a little odd, like he wanted to go swimming to be around Summer. And, Jose said something about Hunter would chase after Summer outside and try to get her back in the house. And in all honesty, the condition the house was in, as a little girl, I can't imagine that would be a comfortable place to be in. No real relaxing spot. I would want to be outside too. Kind of cute that Summer would be laughing and Hunter would be trying to chase her. I can see that. But it's almost like Hunter took on like a daddy role with her in a way. I wonder if he was like the babysitter while all the adults were messed up. But it's not real good to put a child in that situation to be the one to watch out for the younger children. And you think about him saying that when Candus would get messed up, that she would lose the kids, wouldn't know where they were, panicked. But I was thinking also, like this whole Jose thing and Candus. He seems to stick up for Candus, or in a way. He doesn't seem to want to say anything negative against her. Do y'all see that too? What do you think that's about? Do you think it's that they had a relationship and I don't know, maybe has feelings for her on some level? And Allie said that Jose recently reached out to her via Facebook Messenger. She didn't say what they talked about or anything like that, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, I wish the truth will come out. I want the truth to come out. It may end up being something completely off the wall, something we haven't even thought of. It's probably going to shock us all, but maybe not. I know that summer was failed. Did y'all ever hear that? I heard this somewhere. Did y'all hear that Dawn was not a religious person and that he was having to go to church for community service? Is there any truth to that? Has anyone else heard that? Because I was like, well, that kind of makes sense because, but then you got Tim Mullen saying, well, that's the one part of Dawn that I believe. Oh, come on. Gee whiz. Really? Not me. Maybe that jailhouse religion done something wrong and who knows. But you don't go to church and then go home and behave that way. Actually, I'm pretty sure we've seen him on lives drunk and abusive and Candus abusive and them being horrible to each other after the Sabbath church day. So, and using all that colorful language. And then the grand jury is going to be in Hawkins County in April. I'd love to know when that is. If anybody knows, I wouldn't mind going and sitting in on that one. If you can sit in on something like that, I'm not sure. Anybody know if someone could go and sit in on that? Let me know. I'll take that drive. Oh, I was going to ask y'all something too. So yesterday, my comments, I always set everything to allow all comments, whether I agree or disagree. I never block anything. And someone texted me and said, or commented, well, hey, if you want our opinion, why are you turning off the comments? I'm like, what? So I went and I checked and they were turned off by YouTube. I turned it back on. And then before I went to bed, I checked to make sure the comments were still on, and they were. So I checked them twice and they were on. And then today, someone said that my comments keep getting turned off. And I'm like, what in the world? And it made me wonder, like when they were saying that my live stream the last time, kind of like got interrupted and and I couldn't get back into StreamYard because they said that I might be, someone might be trying to hack into my information. And I wonder, like, if I don't know anything about this. So can someone, if they're into my stuff, my StreamYard or whatever, if they've hacked in, can they turn that off, or is that YouTube? I don't know. If y'all got any thoughts on that, I'd appreciate that too. Anyway, well, I will get off here, but just want to thank y'all for subbing here, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And let me know what you think about all this stuff. My head's been swirling. But hope y'all have a good day. I'll get up with you later. Bye, y'all.